Question 1. An insurance adjuster is evaluating a claim for damage to a homeowner's property due to a fallen tree. The policy includes a $1,000 deductible. The adjuster estimates the total cost of repairs to be $7,500. What is the amount the homeowner will receive after the deductible is applied? A. $6,500. B. $7,500. C. $8,500. D. $5,500. Answer A. $6,500. Explanation. The amount the homeowner will receive is calculated by subtracting the deductible from the total cost of repairs. The formula is as follows. Amount received equals total cost of repairs. Deductible, substituting the values. Amount received equals 7500. 1000 equals 6500. Therefore, the homeowner will receive $6,500 after the deductible is applied. It is crucial for adjusters to clearly communicate the deductible impact to clients as outlined in the Fair Claims Practices Act, which mandates that adjusters provide a fair and clear breakdown of claim payments to avoid misunderstandings. Question 2. Which of the following best describes the primary role of a public adjuster compared to a company adjuster? A. Public adjusters work for the insurance company to minimize payouts, while company adjusters advocate for policyholders' claims. B. Public adjusters represent the policyholder and negotiate claims on their behalf, whereas company adjusters work for the insurance company to assess and settle claims. C. Public adjusters are limited to handling only property insurance claims, while company adjusters can handle any type of claim. D. Public adjusters are required to have more training and certifications than company adjusters. Answer. B. Public adjusters represent the policyholder and negotiate claims on their behalf, whereas company adjusters work for the insurance company to assess and settle claims. Explanation. Public adjusters are independent professionals who work exclusively for policyholders to ensure they receive a fair settlement from their insurance companies. They help navigate the claims process and advocate on behalf of the insured. Company adjusters, on the other hand, are employed by insurance companies and focus on evaluating claims to determine the company's liability and settlement amount. This distinction is critical as public adjusters must adhere to state regulations governing their practices and ensure they act in the best interests of the insured as detailed in the Minnesota Department of Commerce guidelines. Question 3, scenario-based. Mr. Thompson has filed a claim with his insurance company after his garage was damaged during a storm. The insurance adjuster MS Smith arrives to assess the damage but notices that Mr. Thompson has made some temporary repairs to the garage. What should MS Smith do in this situation? A. Deny the claim outright because Mr. Thompson made repairs before her assessment. B. Accept the claim without further investigation since Mr. Thompson acted to prevent further damage. C. Document the temporary repairs and assess the extent of the damage to determine the claim's validity. D. Immediately recommend that Mr. Thompson file a new claim for the damages caused by his repairs. Answer. C. Document the temporary repairs and assess the extent of the damage to determine the claim's validity. Explanation. When an insured party makes temporary repairs to mitigate further damage, the adjuster should document these actions as part of a claims handling process. This is in line with the adjuster's duty to conduct a thorough investigation and assess all aspects of the claim. Denying the claim outright would be inappropriate as it could be seen as failing to fulfill the responsibilities outlined in the Fair Claims Practices Act, which requires adjusters to act in good faith and to consider all evidence before making a determination. By documenting the repairs and continuing the assessment, MS Smith is following the correct procedure, ensuring that Mr. Thompson receives a fair evaluation of his claim. Question 4. An insurance adjuster must determine whether a loss is covered under a property insurance policy. Which of the following elements is least likely to be considered when assessing coverage? A. The cause of the loss. B. The policyholder's claims history. C. The specific language of the insurance policy. D. The nature of the property damage. Answer. B. The policyholder's claims history. Explanation. When assessing coverage for a specific loss, adjusters primarily focus on the cause of the loss, the specific language of the insurance policy, and the nature of the property damage. These elements help determine whether the incident falls under the terms of the coverage. While a policyholder's claims history may influence future premium rates or the insurer's risk assessment, it is not a primary factor in determining coverage for a current claim. According to Minnesota Department of Commerce guidelines, adjusters must evaluate the claim based on the facts of the incident and the terms of the policy in force at the time of the loss. Question 5. Which of the following best describes a covered loss in an insurance policy? A. Any incident that causes damage to the insured property. B. A loss specifically mentioned in the policy as being eligible for coverage. C. Any event that is not explicitly excluded in the insurance policy. D. Any claim that has been submitted to the insurance company. Answer: B. A loss specifically mentioned in the policy as being eligible for coverage. Explanation: a covered loss refers specifically to losses that are expressly included in the terms of the insurance policy. Policies typically outline what is covered under the insuring agreement as well as any exclusions. Understanding the difference between covered and non-covered losses is critical for adjusters in the evaluation process. This knowledge helps ensure compliance with the regulatory framework governing insurance claims and protects the rights of policyholders as stipulated in the Fair Claims Practices Act. Question 6. Scenario-based. Mrs. Johnson files a claim for water damage in her basement, stating that the damage occurred due to a burst pipe. Upon investigation, the adjuster finds that the damage was exacerbated by pre-existing mold. What should the adjuster consider when evaluating this claim? A. Deny the claim because of the pre-existing condition. B. Approve the claim in full since the burst pipe caused the initial damage. C. Separate the damages caused by the burst pipe from the pre-existing mold when assessing the claim. D. Recommend that Mrs. Johnson pay for the mold remediation out of pocket. Answer: C. Separate the damages caused by the burst pipe from the pre-existing mold when assessing the claim. Explanation: in claims involving water damage, it is essential for the adjuster to differentiate between damages caused by a covered peril, the burst pipe, and those arising from pre-existing conditions, the mold. According to the Minnesota Department of Commerce guidelines, adjusters must evaluate the extent of the damage attributable to the covered event and assess the claim accordingly. If the damage from the burst pipe is covered under the policy, the adjuster should authorize compensation for those repairs while advising the policyholder to address the mold separately as it may not be covered. This approach ensures that claims are handled fairly and according to the policy terms. Question 7. Which of the following practices is most critical for an adjuster to maintain compliance with ethical standards? A. Accepting gifts from contractors to influence claim settlements. B. Keeping detailed records of all communications related to a claim. C. Working overtime to expedite claim processing without authorization. D. Relying solely on personal judgment rather than documented evidence during the claims evaluation. Answer: B. Keeping detailed records of all communications related to a claim. Explanation: maintaining detailed records of all communications related to a claim is essential for ethical practices and regulatory compliance in the insurance industry. This documentation provides transparency and accountability, allowing for clear reference in case of disputes or inquiries about the claim process. Accepting gifts, option A, is unethical and can lead to conflicts of interest, while working overtime without authorization, option C, can violate company policies. Relying on personal judgment without evidence, option D, undermines the integrity of the claims process. Following the ethical guidelines laid out by the Minnesota Department of Commerce ensures that adjusters act in the best interests of all parties involved. Question 8. In the context of claims management, which of the following actions best exemplifies the principle of good faith in the adjuster's role? A. Quickly denying claims to reduce administrative costs. B. Providing comprehensive explanations to policyholders regarding claim denials. C. Avoiding communication with policyholders to prevent disputes. D. Prioritizing the interests of the insurance company over those of the insured. Answer: B. Providing comprehensive explanations to policyholders regarding claim denials. Explanation: the principle of a good faith requires that adjusters act fairly, honestly, and transparently in their dealings with policyholders. Providing comprehensive explanations for claim denials ensures that policyholders understand the reasoning behind the decision, thus promoting trust and clarity in the claims process. Denying claims quickly, option A, without proper investigation or explanation would violate ethical standards. Avoiding communication, option C, can lead to misunderstandings and dissatisfaction, while prioritizing the insurer's interests, option D, over the insured's would contravene the adjuster's responsibility to uphold the rights of policyholders as mandated by the Fair Claims Practices Act. Question 9. Which of the following situations would typically require an adjuster to escalate a claim for further review by a supervisor? A. The claim involves a routine property damage assessment under $5,000. B. The claimant has filed multiple claims in the past year. C. The circumstances of the claim are complex and involve multiple parties or potential liability issues. D. The policyholder submitted additional documentation after the initial claim submission. Answer: C. The circumstances of the claim are complex and involve multiple parties or potential liability issues. Explanation: claims that are complex in nature, particularly those involving multiple parties or liability issues, may necessitate further review by a supervisor to ensure that all aspects are properly addressed and evaluated. Its escalation helps in mitigating risks associated with potential disputes and ensures compliance with both ethical standards and regulatory requirements. Routine claims (Option A) typically do not require escalation, while a policyholder's history of claims (Option B) may be relevant but does not necessitate a supervisor's review. Additional documentation (Option D) is a common occurrence and should be assessed without automatic escalation unless it introduces complexity. Question 10. When determining the appropriate valuation method for a property claim, which of the following is the most critical factor for the adjuster to consider? A. The method preferred by the insurance company. B. The replacement cost versus actual cash value. C. The adjuster's personal experience with similar claims. D. The policyholder's previous claims history. Answer: B. The replacement cost versus actual cash value. Explanation: in property claims, understanding the difference between replacement cost and actual cash value (SEV) is essential for determining how a claim will be evaluated and paid. Replacement cost is the amount necessary to replace the damaged property without depreciation, while SEV takes depreciation into account, often resulting in a lower payout. The valuation method used should align with the terms set forth in the policy. The adjuster must avoid biases toward the insurance company (Option A) or rely on personal experience (Option C), as each claim must be evaluated on its own merits and according to the specific terms of the policy. Previous claims history (Option D) may provide context but is not directly relevant to the valuation method selected for the current claim. Question 11. An adjuster is evaluating a claim for a commercial building that was damaged in a storm. The insured has a business interruption insurance policy. Which of the following factors is most critical in determining the claim amount for business interruption losses? A. The amount of physical damage to the building. B. The length of time the business has been operating. C. The amount of revenue lost during the interruption period. D. The specific exclusions listed in the property policy. Answer: C. The amount of revenue lost during the interruption period. Explanation: business interruption insurance compensates for lost income due to a covered event that disrupts normal business operations. The key factor in determining the claim amount is the revenue lost during the interruption period. This revenue is typically calculated based on historical financial performance and future projections, while physical damage (Option A) and the length of time the business has been operating (Option B) can influence the overall context of the claim. They do not directly determine the loss calculation for business interruption. Specific exclusions (Option D) are relevant but pertain more to the eligibility of the claim rather than the amount. Question 12. In the claims handling process, what is the primary purpose of conducting a recorded statement from the claimant? A. To create a binding legal contract regarding the claim. B. To document the claimant's version of events for later reference. C. To serve as evidence for court proceedings if necessary. D. To ensure that the adjuster is complying with regulatory requirements. Answer: B. To document the claimant's version of events for later reference. Explanation: the primary purpose of taking a recorded statement is to capture the claimant's narrative regarding the loss, which can serve as an essential reference during the claims evaluation process. It allows the adjuster to understand the circumstances surrounding the claim, while it may also serve as evidence (Option C). If the claim escalates to litigation, its main function is not to create a binding legal contract (Option A) or to ensure regulatory compliance (Option D). Recorded statements must be conducted ethically with the claimant's consent and in a manner that respects their rights. Question 13. Scenario-based. Mr. Thompson's car was hit by an uninsured motorist while parked. He files a claim under his uninsured motorist coverage. After investigation, the adjuster finds Mr. Thompson has a $500 deductible. What should the adjuster explain to Mr. Thompson regarding his coverage and the claim settlement process? A. The entire damage amount will be paid without any deductions since it was an uninsured motorist. B. The deductible will be subtracted from the total amount awarded for the claim. C. He must wait for the other party's insurance to pay before receiving any funds. D. The claim may be denied if Mr. Thompson was not at fault. Answer B. The deductible will be subtracted from the total amount awarded for the claim. Explanation: when filing a claim under uninsured motorist coverage, the insured must still pay any applicable deductible, which is common in many auto insurance policies. Therefore, the adjuster should clearly explain to Mr. Thompson that his claim amount will be reduced by the deductible of $500. Option is incorrect because the deductible must always be considered in the settlement. Option C is misleading. The insured can claim under their policy without waiting for the other party's insurer. Option D is incorrect. Fault does not affect the coverage for claims as it applies regardless of fault in accidents involving uninsured drivers. Question 14. Which of the following actions would best help an adjuster ensure compliance with Minnesota's Fair Claims Practices Act when handling claims? A. Quickly settling claims without thorough investigation to meet company quotas. B. Providing timely updates to policyholders about the status of their claims. C. Ignoring requests for documentation from policyholders if they are excessive. D. Relying solely on verbal communications rather than written documentation for claim files. Answer B. Providing timely updates to policyholders about the status of their claims. Explanation: under the Fair Claims Practices Act, insurers are required to handle claims fairly and promptly, which includes providing timely updates to claimants about the status of their claims. This practice fosters transparency and trust between the insurer and the policyholder. Quickly settling claims without proper investigation, option A, can lead to disputes and is against ethical standards. Ignoring excessive requests, option C, may violate the policyholder's rights. Relying solely on verbal communications, option D, can create gaps in documentation and hinder the claims process. Question 15. An adjuster discovers that a policyholder has submitted a claim for damage that is clearly excluded under the policy terms. What is the most appropriate action for the adjuster to take? A. Approve the claim but advise the policyholder of the exclusion after payment. B. Deny the claim and provide a written explanation citing the specific exclusion. C. Suggest that the policyholder refile the claim with a different narrative to improve chances of approval. D. Ignore the exclusion and process the claim to maintain customer satisfaction. Answer B. Deny the claim and provide a written explanation citing the specific exclusion. Explanation: when an adjuster finds that a claim is for damages that are clearly excluded by the policy, the ethical and legally compliant action is to deny the claim and provide a written explanation of the specific exclusion. This ensures that the policyholder understands why the claim was denied and upholds the integrity of the claims process. Proving a claim while knowing it violates policy terms, option A, would constitute fraud. Suggesting a different narrative, option C, is unethical, and ignoring the exclusion, option D, could lead to significant legal and financial repercussions for the insurer. Question 16. During a claims investigation, an adjuster notices discrepancies between the statements given by the claimant and the evidence gathered. What is the best course of action for the adjuster? A. Immediately deny the claim based on these discrepancies. B. Gather additional evidence and seek clarification from the claimant. C. Settle the claim based on the evidence that aligns with the claimant's statement. D. Ignore the discrepancies if the evidence is not materially significant. Answer B. Gather additional evidence and seek clarification from the claimant. Explanation: when discrepancies arise during a claims investigation, the adjuster should not rush to deny the claim but instead gather further evidence and seek clarification from the claimant to understand the situation better. This due diligence is essential for making an informed decision and upholding the integrity of the claims process. Immediate denial, option A, could be premature and unjust. Settling based on partial evidence, option C, could result in an inaccurate assessment, while ignoring discrepancies, option D, could lead to significant issues down the line if fraud or misrepresentation is later uncovered. Question 17. What is the primary purpose of a policy's declarations page? A. To provide detailed exclusions of coverage. B. To outline the conditions under which the policy is issued. C. To summarize the essential information regarding the insured coverage amounts and premium. D. To serve as a binding contract between the insurer and the policyholder. Answer C. To summarize the essential information regarding the insured coverage amounts and premium. Explanation: the declarations page of an insurance policy serves as a summary that outlines crucial details, including the insured's name, the coverage amounts, the effective dates of the policy, and the premium amount. It is often the first page of the policy and provides a quick reference to the essential terms of coverage. Options F and B are incorrect as these details are typically found in the policy wording rather than the declarations page. While the declarations page forms part of the policy contract, option D, it does not serve as the sole binding contract. The entire policy document constitutes the contract. Question 18. An adjuster is evaluating a claim involving a total loss of a vehicle. The insured had comprehensive coverage with a $1,000 deductible. The vehicle's market value is assessed at $15,000. What amount should the adjuster recommend to the insurer for settlement? A. $15,000. B. $14,000. C. $16,000. D. $1,000. Answer B. $14,000. Explanation: in this scenario, the insured is entitled to the market value of the vehicle minus the deductible. The calculation would be as follows: settlement will equal socket value, deductible equals 15,000. 1,000 equals 14,000. Thus, the adjuster should recommend a settlement amount of $14,000. Option is incorrect as it does not account for the deductible, while option C erroneously adds the deductible. Option D is incorrect because it does not reflect the actual value of the loss. Question 19. Which of the following statements is true regarding the legal obligations of an adjuster in Minnesota? A. Adjusters are not required to disclose any potential conflicts of interest. B. Adjusters can make unilateral decisions without consulting the insurance company. C. Adjusters must act in good faith and with the utmost fair dealing. D. Adjusters can disregard the Fair Claims Practices Act if they believe it will expedite the claims process. Answer: C. Adjusters must act in good faith and with the utmost fair dealing. Explanation: in Minnesota, as in many jurisdictions, adjusters are legally obligated to act in good faith and to treat all parties involved in a claim fairly. This means they must provide accurate information, conduct thorough investigations, and communicate transparently with claimants. Adjusters are required to disclose any potential conflicts of interest, contrary to option A, and cannot make unilateral decisions without the involvement of their insurer, contrary to option B. Additionally, they must adhere to the Fair Claims Practices Act and cannot disregard it even if they believe doing so might expedite the claims process, contrary to option D. Acting with integrity is fundamental to the role of an adjuster. Question 20. When evaluating a claim for damage caused by a fire, which of the following steps is the most critical for the adjuster to take first? A. Assess the damage to the property. B. Determine the cause of the fire. C. Interview witnesses to the incident. D. Estimate the repair costs for the damaged property. Answer: B. Determine the cause of the fire. Explanation: determining the cause of the fire is the most critical step because it establishes whether the claim is covered under the policy. Coverage could be affected by factors such as arson, negligence, or exclusions specific to fire damage. Once the cause is established, the adjuster can move forward with assessing the damage. Option A, interviewing witnesses. Option C, and estimating repair costs. Option D, these subsequent steps are important but are contingent upon understanding the cause of the fire and whether it falls within the policy's coverage. Question 21. Which of the following is a key principle of the Fair Claims Practices Act in Minnesota? A. Insurers are allowed to delay payments indefinitely. B. Claims must be processed within a reasonable time frame. C. Adjusters can deny claims without providing a reason. D. Insurers are not required to provide documentation to the claimant. Answer: B. Claims must be processed within a reasonable time frame. Explanation: the Fair Claims Practices Act mandates that insurers process claims promptly and fairly. This includes timely communication and payment to claimants, ensuring that claims are not delayed unnecessarily. Insurers must provide reasons for any claim denials, contrary to option C, and are required to provide documentation supporting their decisions, contrary to option D. Delay in processing claims can lead to regulatory penalties. Question 22. In Minnesota, what is the primary role of a public adjuster? A. To represent the interests of the insurance company. B. To negotiate settlements on behalf of policyholders. C. To provide legal advice to claimants. D. To investigate fraudulent claims for the insurer. Answer: B. To negotiate settlements on behalf of policyholders. Explanation: public adjusters are licensed professionals who represent the interests of policyholders, helping them negotiate fair settlements with their insurance companies. Unlike independent or company adjusters who work for insurers, public adjusters advocate for the insured party's rights during the claims process. They do not represent insurers. Contrary to option A, do not provide legal advice. contrary to option C, and their role is not to investigate fraud, contrary to option D. Question 23 scenario. Mr. Smith files a claim for water damage due to a burst pipe. Upon inspection, the adjuster discovers that the pipe had a history of leaks that Mr. Smith did not disclose. What should the adjuster do next? A. Deny the claim immediately. B. Report the history of leaks to the insurer and recommend denial. C. Approve the claim as the damage was still caused by a burst pipe. D. Conduct a further investigation into the circumstances surrounding the leak. Answer. D. Conduct a further investigation into the circumstances surrounding the leak. Explanation. In this scenario, the adjuster should conduct a thorough investigation to gather all relevant facts regarding the water damage and the prior history of leaks. This includes understanding whether the previous leaks contributed to the burst and if Mr. Smith's failure to disclose this information affects coverage. Denying the claim outright, option A, or simply reporting to the insurer, option B, may overlook critical details that could affect the claim's outcome. Proving the claim, option C, without full context would also be premature. Question 24. Which document typically outlines the specific coverage provided by an insurance policy? A. The declarations page. B. The claims form. C. The endorsement. D. The policyholder's guide. Answer A. The declarations page. Explanation. The declarations page of an insurance policy provides essential information, including the types of coverage included, coverage limits, and the insured property. It is a summary that helps policyholders understand their coverage at a glance. The claims form, option B, is used to initiate a claim. Endorsements, option C, modify existing coverage, and the policyholder's guide, option D, typically provides additional explanations but is not the primary document detailing coverage. Question 25. What is the primary purpose of an adjuster conducting a field investigation? A. To entertain the claimant. B. To assess the validity of the claim. C. To determine the adjuster's own liability. D. To prepare for potential legal proceedings. Answer. B. To assess the validity of the claim. Explanation. The primary purpose of conducting a field investigation is to evaluate the claim's validity by collecting evidence, documenting damages, and interviewing witnesses. This process helps the adjuster determine whether the claim is legitimate and if it falls within the policy coverage, while the investigation may indirectly prepare for legal proceedings, option D. That is not its primary purpose. The adjuster does not need to entertain the claimant, option A, or determine their liability, option C. Question 26. Which of the following terms refers to the portion of a loss that the insured must pay before the insurance coverage applies? A. Premium. B. Deductible. C. Copayment. D. Exclusion. Answer. B. Deductible. Explanation. A deductible is the amount the insured is responsible for paying out of pocket before the insurance company begins to cover the remaining costs. Premiums, option A, are the amounts paid for the insurance policy. Copayments, option C, typically relate to health insurance and are specific payments made at the time of service, while exclusions, option D, are specific conditions or circumstances under which the policy does not provide coverage. Question 27. In Minnesota, an adjuster is assessing a claim for a stolen vehicle. Which of the following steps is NOT part of the standard claims investigation process? A. Reviewing the police report. B. Checking the insured's driving record. C. Interviewing the claimant about the incident. D. Confirming the vehicle's VIN with the insurance company. Answer. B. Checking the insured's driving record. Explanation. Checking the insured's driving record is not a standard step in the investigation of a theft claim. The key steps typically involve reviewing the police report, option A, interviewing the claimant, option C, to understand the circumstances of the theft and confirming the vehicle's VIN, option D, to validate the claim. The driving record is more relevant in liability or accident-related claims. Question 28. What is the main difference between liability insurance and property insurance? A. Liability insurance covers personal injuries only. B. Property insurance covers damages to personal property. C. Liability insurance covers damages to property caused by the insured. D. Property insurance is not required by law, whereas liability insurance is. Answer. C. Liability insurance covers damages to property caused by the insured. Explanation. Liability insurance protects the insured against claims resulting from injuries or damages to other people or their property that occur due to the insured's actions. Property insurance, on the other hand, covers damages to the insured's own property due to various risks, such as fire or theft. Contrary to option B, some types of liability insurance, like auto liability, may be legally required. Contrary to option D, property insurance is generally not mandated by law. Question 29. In Minnesota, which of the following actions must an adjuster take when they suspect a claim is fraudulent? A. Immediately deny the claim without further investigation. B. Report the suspected fraud to the appropriate authorities. C. Inform the claimant that their claim is under investigation for fraud. D. Delay processing the claim until further notice. Answer. B. Report the suspected fraud to the appropriate authorities. Explanation. When an adjuster suspects a fraudulent claim, they are required to report their findings to the appropriate regulatory authorities to investigate further. Denying the claim outright, option A, may not be warranted without a thorough investigation informing the claimant of the fraud suspicion. Option C, may compromise the investigation and delaying processing the claim. Option D, is not a standard protocol unless legally mandated. Reporting ensures proper handling and potential prosecution of fraud. Question 30. Which of the following statements about subrogation is TIUE? A. Subrogation prevents the insured from recovering damages. B. The insurer can pursue recovery from the party at fault after compensating the insured. C. Subrogation occurs before the insured has been compensated. D. Insurers cannot pursue subrogation if the insured has a deductible. Answer. B. The insurer can pursue recovery from the party at fault after compensating the insured. Explanation. Subrogation is the legal process by which an insurer seeks reimbursement from the responsible party after paying a claim to the insured. It allows insurers to recover costs associated with claims they have paid. Option A is incorrect because subrogation does not prevent recovery, rather it enables the insurer to seek recovery after compensation. Option C is also incorrect since subrogation occurs after the insured has been compensated. Lastly, the existence of a deductible, option D, does not impact the insurer's right to pursue subrogation, as the insurer is only seeking recovery of amounts paid in excess of the deductible.